Merging spreadsheets.
Sometime
We may need to merge the files reviewed by various users to make a final file. Calc allows us to do so by following the steps given below. 1. Make 2 copies of a same spreadsheet and do some changes in them. 2. Open any of these files. 3. Click on the Edit menu. 4. Select the Track Changes option. 5. Select the Merge Document option. The Merge with dialog box appears. 6. Select the copy of the file that is to be merged. 7. Click on the Open button. The Manage Changes dialog box
opens.
8. Click on the Accept All button to accept all changes. 9. Click on the Close button. Merge Changes dialog box appears. The changes of both the files are merged. Comparing documents. Calc also allows us to compare 2 spreadsheets. Follow the steps given below to compare 2 spreadsheets. 1. Open any of the spreadsheets that is to be compared. 2. Click on the Edit, Track Changes, Compare Document option. If the Track Changes feature is on, a warning message box appears asking to turn off the Track Changes mode. The Compare to Original Document dialog box appears. 3. Select the file to be compared. 4. Click on the Open button. The Manage Changes dialog box opens. 5. Click on Accept or Accept All button. 6. Click on the Close button to close the Manage Changes dialog box. Using the macro recorder. Sometimes we may be required to perform a task repeatedly. For example, using a function several times, entering the same records at multiple places, applying the same formatting to data, following the same steps again and again. It is very cumbersome to perform the same tasks repeatedly. To overcome this problem, LibreOffice Calc provides a feature called Macro. A macro is a method that allows us to record the steps to perform a particular task. It automates the tasks that need to be performed repeatedly. A macro records the commands, tasks, keystrokes, or the activities performed by the user on a specific worksheet. Once a macro is recorded, we can execute it as many times as required. By default, the macro recording is disabled in Calc. We can enable it by following the given steps. 1. Click on the Tools, Options from the menu bar. The Options dialog box appears. 2. Click on the LibreOffice node, then select the Advanced sub-node. 3. Select the Enable Macro Recording checkbox under the Optional Features. Now the macro recording is enabled in LibreOffice Calc. For example, we have total marks of 5 students in a sheet of Calc as shown. We want to highlight the cells in red color which contain marks less than 270. To do so, let us create a macro. Creating a simple macro. Follow the given steps to create a macro in LibreOffice Calc. 1. Create a new workbook. 2. Enter the data shown in the above image in Sheet 1. 3. Click on the Tools, Macros, Record Macro option. The Record Macro dialog box appears. 4. Click on the cell containing marks less than 270. 5. Click on the down arrow of the background color command from the formatting toolbar. 6. Click on the red color from the color palette. 7. Click on Stop Recording button in the Record Macro dialog box. The Basic Macros dialog box appears. 8. Type the name of the macro in the macro name text box. In our case, we have typed macro 1. 9. Click on Save button. The macro is recorded. Now, remove the background color from the cell. Running a macro. Follow the given steps to run a macro. 1. Click on the cell. 2. Click on the Tools menu. A drop-down menu appears. 3. Select the Macros option. A sub-menu appears. 4. Select the Run Macro option. The Macro Selector dialog box appears. 5. Select the macro 1 under the My Macros Standard node. 6. Click on Run button. The background of the cell will be changed. We can also use this macro in another sheet. Using a macro as a function. Consider an example in which we have to perform a calculation several times in a worksheet. There is no such built-in function in Calc that can perform the desired calculation. Creating a macro will not help in this situation. If we use a macro as a function, we are able to accomplish this easily. The function and end function keywords are used to create a macro as a function. A function has the ability to receive values or arguments. It has the ability to operate on the arguments, carry out calculations, and return the outcome. Follow the given steps to do so. 1. Open a workbook. 2. Click on Tools menu. 3. Click on Macros option. A submenu appears. 4. Select the Organize Macros option from the submenu. Another submenu appears. 5. Select the Basic option. The Basic Macros dialog box appears. 6. Select the macro to be edited. 7. Click on Edit button. The LibreOffice base window opens with auto-generated code. 8. Replace the existing code with the following code. Function message as string. Message equal to, we are using macro as a function. End function. 9. Save the file and click on the Close button to close the LibreOffice base window. 10. Now, type the following in a cell where you want to use the macro, equal to message. 11. After typing the preceding line, when you press the Enter key, the specified cell's background color is changed. Passing arguments to a macro. We can also pass arguments or parameters to a macro function within the opening and closing parentheses. We can pass any number of arguments in a macro. For example, we want to calculate the multiplication of two numbers using a macro. To do so, we have created a function named myFunction in the following way. Function myFunction num1 as double, comma num2 as double. As double. My function equal to num1 into num2. End function. Here, num1 and num2 are passed as arguments to the macro myFunction. Now, call the macro with two values like equal to myFunction 10, 2. You will get 20 in the cell. Macros to work like built-in functions. No, macros cannot work exactly like built-in functions in Calc. Built-in functions in Calc are predefined formulas that perform specific calculations or operations, and they can be used directly in cells or in formula bar to manipulate data. On the other hand, macros are sets of Visual Basic code that automate tasks and perform custom operations in Calc. Accessing cells directly. We can directly access the cells of a worksheet in a macro. The range object is used to access the cells in a macro. For example, sub right val. Range a1.value equal to LibreOffice Calc. End sub. In the above code, we have accessed the cell A1. When we run the above macro, the message LibreOffice Calc appears in cell
A1.
Sorting the columns using macro. Sorting means arranging the data in ascending or descending order. We can create a macro for sorting the values of a column. In case of textual data, data is sorted in alphabetical order. Let us create a macro that sorts the following data according to product name. After entering the above data into a worksheet, perform the following steps. 1. Click on the Tools, Macros, Record Macro option. The Record Macro dialog box appears with Stop Recording button. 2. Select the cells A2 is to B6. 3. Click on Data menu. 4. Click on the Sort Ascending or Sort Descending option. Or click on Sort Ascending or Sort Descending from the standard toolbar. The data is sorted alphabetically. 5. click on Stop Recording button. 6. Now, we can use this macro to sort another data. In summary, consolidating data means combining information from multiple sheets and generating summarized information on a new sheet. The subtotals command is used to group related data and applies the standard summary methods like sum and average. A scenario is a series of values that Calc saves and can replace on your worksheet without your intervention. Goal Seek is used to manipulate one input cell after the outcome or target is fixed. Solver can manipulate a set of cells after knowing the output and can estimate the minimum or maximum value that can be entered into those cells. The Multiple Operations tool generates a formula array that compiles a list of results by applying a formula to a range of different values which are utilized within the formula. A cell reference is an address of a cell or a range of cells. A hyperlink is a reference to a web page, document, or any file with a spreadsheet. Sharing makes it possible to collaborate so that others can see it, add to it, and make changes. Recording Changes feature provides us various methods to record the changes made by several users in the spreadsheet. A macro is a method that allows us to record the steps to perform a particular task. Once a macro is recorded, we can execute it as many times as required. We can create user-defined functions by using macros and then use them in the workbook. We can also pass arguments or parameters to a macro function within the opening and closing parentheses. Macros cannot work exactly like
built-in function
in Excel. The range object is used to access the cells in a macro.